welcome to this Darts World Premier League special. After night 15 of the Premier League at the First Direct Arena in Leeds. And Harry, you was there live and in living colour. And how was it?
It's fantastic. Hi guys, and obviously a fantastic night of action. I think the best game, in my opinion, was definitely the final in terms of the most tension that was involved in the matches, and a fantastic win for Luke Humphries. He wanted to win. This would have been his one night that he would have wanted to win out of all of the nights in the Premier League, and he's done it.
Yeah, he made sure of it in them first two games. He was in really good form. And it wasn't just a tense on the stage. It was probably tense in the crowd for you, and it was definitely tense for me where I am. I mean, I've had a bit of a look behind the curtain, but a stressful day today with a few things going off with a car playing up and things like that. But we're all sorted now. But what a good way to finish the evening with a fantastic night of darts.
Absolutely, and obviously we no giving nothing away with the Premier League Predictor League, but it was very tense right until the very end. We had our two predictions reach the final.
Indeed, a tense evening of darts for everyone involved. And now let's go to the First Direct Arena in Leeds, and let's go and talk about game one: Michael van Gerwen versus Gerwin Price. So, first game of the quarterfinals, and as we said, tense game where Gerwin Price was looking really lively at the early stages, but Michael van Gerwen doing Michael van Gerwen things.
Absolutely, Van Gerwen, I think 3-1 down in that game at the start, and then he comes back and wins the match. And I think from when he was 3-1 down, he looked like a switch sort of flicked with him in terms of that match. And when that switch flicked, I didn't think Price could really do anything about it. Obviously, we have to respect that he was coming into this on the back of not playing last week in Aberdeen with the back injury. So obviously, he might be just easing his way back into it. He's not playing in the Euro Tour this weekend, but a massive win for Van Gerwen. And obviously, he was in a big playoff race coming into the night, and that win was a big step for him.
Yeah, I think after when he went 3-1 up, I think Michael van Gerwen went into what I like to call 80s dad mode, where he was like, right, that's it, that enough, wallop, and just
Yeah.
and just went into absolute power scoring demon. And but 101 average after the match, and that booked his place into the semi-final.
Absolutely. We were all sat here going, are we panicking that Van Gerwen's not going to make the playoffs? But he's literally shut everyone up with that performance tonight, even though he didn't win the night. But it was an important win at the start of the game, at the start of the night in the quarterfinals. He needed to win, knowing that one of Nathan Aspinall and Michael Smith were going to be picking up points from their quarterfinals. So it was important that he got the job done in the opening match.
Yeah, that kind of cemented his place in the playoffs. But moving on to game two, where it was Luke Littler versus Peter Wright.
Yeah, Luke Littler just continuing from where he left off last week. Another fantastic performance. Again, he was threatening the 9-darter as well in one of the legs. I think he had 6 perfect darts, but again, another important win for him. I don't think he's secured top spot yet as a result of the final outcome of tonight, but he's still in a pretty good position in terms of next week. Sorry, in Sheffield, knowing that all he's got to do is win one of his matches and top spot secured.
Yes, definitely. It was a strong performance as we was expected, and Peter Wright, unfortunately, not playing his best darts over the past few weeks, few months. However, it's just not been his time of the year this time, and there was a lot of people saying he didn't deserve the spot, and as we've said in previous weeks, there's been glimpses of that form, but in this format, if you don't go hard, you go home.
No, you get found out in this format. I'll still sit here and disagree with anyone that says that Peter Wright didn't deserve to be in the Premier League this year, just because he was the one player that did win something last year. And you can sit here and argue Chris Dobey should have been in it, or someone else or Joe Cullen maybe, but these players didn't win anything last year. Peter Wright did win the European Championship, and that is a major competition. So you have to take that into consideration. And obviously, he did get selected for it, and you've just got to respect that.
Yeah, absolutely. But as I said, with the other players just being that little bit ahead of him more often than not, it's just been an unfortunate situation for Peter Wright to be in. But moving on to game three, and it was Luke Humphries, world champion, taking on Rob Cross.
It was a very slow start from Luke Humphries in that match. I think Rob Cross was either 1-0 or 2-0 ahead very early on, but a bit like Van Gerwen in terms of the switch flick. The switch flicked for Luke Humphries, and by God, did it flick! It was relentless scoring and a fantastic performance in his hometown. Well, it's not his hometown, but it's as good as.
Yes, it's where his favourite football team are, and anything like that. You're gonna have them. Not hometown, but I know what you mean. It's what you call home.
Absolutely, and you look at the new walk on song as well. I feel like it was one of the worst kept secrets out there. I think everyone knew that it was going to be I Predict a Riot, and then he even had the start of Will marching on together just before he came on. So it was extra special for him today, and he looked like he fully enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is a great song to use. I mean, Kevin Painter used it back in the day, and I think Callum Ridds obviously he's called the right, and I think he used it for a bit, and then he's moved on to Sam Fender, again with the local connection.
Yeah,
But yeah, an absolute banger of a song to use, and I hope he uses it ongoing. I hope that's a, a full changer to the music because it definitely gets the crowd going, and that's what you want in these
yeah.
environments.
Well, he was saying in the press conference as well that he wanted a song. I think one of the journalists asked him a question about in terms of a song that's closer to you, and he didn't really feel that connection with Cake by the Ocean. But with I Predict a Riot, there is that connection there because he was saying that they play it at the end of each match at Leeds if they win a match. So obviously there's that as well for him, and obviously you want a walk on song that you're gonna want to get along with,
That
and
yells. Yeah,
yeah, and the crowd get on with that, get respond well to that as well because it's such a well-known song. I Predict a Riot.
exactly. And again, that magic number that I keep saying, 110 average. I mean, okay, 109.48 if you want me to be exact, but
It's as good as.
as good as. And this is something that we've mentioned time and time again, and we've mentioned on Twitter, and it is becoming the norm of if you're wanting to win titles, that's where you've got to be at.
Yeah, spot on, and this is the standard that Luke Humphries and Luke Littler have brought to this game now.
Massively, massively. So moving on to the last game of the quarterfinals and a tense affair between Nathan Aspinall and Mike Smith.
This was always going to be the game tonight that was going to be the one that was going to be nervy because of where both players are in the table. Nathan Aspinall was third going into the night, and then you got Michael Smith that is the closest player in terms of trying to break into that top four. It was an important win for Michael Smith as well because if he'd lost that game, he could have been as good as done in terms of the playoff race tonight. But he keeps himself in with that chance, and that game between Nathan Aspinall and Michael Smith next week in Sheffield is going to be massive, even more tense than this week.
Yes, watching the game, you could tell. I think Nathan Aspinall was playing the occasion more than Mike Smith. That's the vibe I got anyway, watching the game. Um, I mean, if Nathan says it's complete, he's just playing his game, then fair point. But just watching the game and the way the game was changing, where Nathan Aspinall's chances on them doubles weren't as confidently done as Michael Smith's fluent action, where it's just another double, it's just another treble. I think you could tell the way that Michael Smith was throwing at the doubles, he felt more at ease in that situation.
So there was even a finish where he was trying to get a double 19 and then he went for something else. So he was even trying to bring the double into the second dart on a combination finish, let alone hitting it in the last dart. But no, it was an important win for Michael Smith tonight. And Even though I think he broke really early on in that game, so he always had the advantage in that tie. And I think Nathan Aspinall did break him, but then Michael Smith broke again. So it was like that gap was restored again. And
Yeah.
no, he did the job tonight. And as you said, coming into this game, that an on-form Michael Smith or a determined Michael Smith is very difficult to beat.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Now we don't really usually cover the semi-finals because we try to concentrate on the aspects of the Premier League Predictor League, but both games going 6-1 to the respective winners. But there was some just weird instances. And I mean, I want to talk about the Michael Van Gogh and Luke Littler game. I mean, I think Luke was out of sorts. Luke Littler, that is, was out of sorts. I think some of his darts, especially the last dart of his throw, was just seemed to be meh. I don't know from your vantage point, but I was just watching him going. It doesn't feel as though he's there. He wasn't fully there. He wasn't in zoned in. I thought.
No, I can see that. And do you know what? In terms of where Littler is in the Premier League at the minute, I don't think it's that big of a deal just because he's already secured his spot at the playoffs. And this is why I haven't predicted him to win nights once he qualified, because I didn't think there was going to be that much pressure on him.
Mm,
In terms of the remaining nights, he's obviously got to play the Euro Tour tomorrow, and he's got a really tough match. He's got a really tough draw, sorry, in that he's got Vessel Neiman in the first round, so that's not going to be
yeah,
easy. But no, I think there was one leg as well with because Van Gerwen was averaging, he was playing well, but there was that one leg where they just couldn't hit a double between the pair of them, and it's ruined the averages a little bit. But in terms of that performance, Van Gogh was definitely the better player, and this is going to be the rivalry within. This could be one of the rivalries within darts. Like you've got Luke Humphries as well.
yeah,
Not even mentioned him, but no, Van Gerwen was the player that definitely looked on top in that game, and he deserves to get through to the final. But he won't
yeah.
be
And
bothered with Luke Littler at all.
no, and Michael Van Gerwen was on 32 after nine darts in one of the legs, and I think that was the leg where Luke went two treble ones. Look, obviously aiming for the treble 20, and it was just kind of a right. It's one of them. It's just
Yeah,
yeah. But as you said, Luke's got his place firmly cemented in the playoffs, and so has the other Luke.
absolutely. And Luke Humphries against Michael Smith in the semi-finals again. It was a bit similar to his first match. He was by far the better player in the game, even though I think in the first game he was tested a bit more in terms of what happened at the start. But in this second game, he just blew him away. It was 5-0 within no time at all. And
And
a
his
mad stat this
finishing.
season. Yeah, his finishing was that 1-3-2 finished with the tops and the
Yes.
bullseye. That was
Yes.
fantastic. Was it the bullseye hit or was it?
I
I think
think
it
it
was the
was
bullseye.
bullseye treble 14 tops. Because
Yes,
I was
that was
looking
it.
at two balls and I was, because the way that first start was in, I was going, yeah, that's easily getting a second. And then the camera went wide because everyone went, where's he gone? And then tops.
You knew what he'd left once he'd hit that treble 14, and
Yeah.
no, it was a fantastic performance from Luke Humphries tonight. He looked determined all through the night, and unlike the first game, this one he was 5-0 up in no time. And a mad stat. I think it was close to happening twice tonight. I think one leg between in the Littler Wright game and then this game as well between Humphries and Smith. There's not been a 6-0 yet.
No. I heard that on commentary and going, and I just kept thinking back and going, there hasn't.
No,
No,
no, there
no
hasn't.
bagels.
No bagels have been served, and it remains to be seen whether it can happen next week in Sheffield. Because I'd be very surprised if it did happen at the playoffs with the format changing to a much longer structure.
Yes, potentially there. So that's the semi-finals, and then onto the final. And by jingo, by crikey, what a final!
It's always the last leg between me and you in this Predictor League. I said Van Gerwen to win it. You said Humphries to win it. And of course, it goes your way. It always does in these last leg decisions. I'm not making excuses here. You picked it. It was probably the most obvious shout coming into tonight as well because of where it was and Luke Humphries' position in the league as well. I didn't think um, I feel like it benefited him tonight as well, knowing that he'd already qualified for the playoffs ahead of coming into Leeds. Because if he was still in a position where he wasn't qualified yet, but he still had to qualify and do something in Leeds, it might have been a bit more difficult for him. But the fact that he didn't have to do that and it all was
He
sort of in
just wanted
place
that
already
win.
for him.
He just wanted that win in
He
Leeds
just wanted it
so
and he
much.
got it.
Yeah,
And he was the best player tonight, definitely. I think
yeah,
Van Gerwen,
absolutely.
yeah. And even though Van Gerwen did miss some darts to win the match at the end, once it went to 10 legs and Humphries made it 5-all, and he had to throw in the final leg, I could only see it going one way. And Luke Humphries he keeps himself just in with a shout of still potentially claiming top spot in the Premier League. He has to hope though that Littler loses next week and he wins the night.
Yes. Um, it's going to be a fantastic week in Sheffield, part of the Yorkshire double, as I call it, and yeah, a good week of darts in Leeds. But let's go and see how that affects the Predictor League. So, looking at the Predictor League, we've already gone through the results, so we'll just quickly go over what we picked. So, with the first game, Gerwen Price versus Michael van Gerwen, we both went with Michael van Gerwen. Harry went with 6-4, I went with 6-3, and it was 6-3. So I get that extra point on there as well. With Luke Littler beating Peter Wright 6-1, we both got 2 points. And we both went with Luke Humphries beating Rob Cross 6-5, but the actual score was 6-1. So I was surprised there. And then we were both saying this game could have gone either way, coin flip, both 6-5. We both went 6-5 Michael Smith, but it was actually 6-3. But the weekly winner, as Harry said earlier in the episode, he went with MVG and I went with Luke Humphries. And that magical 78 where he missed one and hit one, but the one he hit made him the winner. And that gave me the 3 extra points. So for the evening, Harry scored 8 points and I scored 12 points. So the comeback has done. It is 88 to Harry. It is 90 to myself going into that final week. And what a week it is going to be in Sheffield.
Absolutely, the second stage of this Yorkshire double, and the predictor league the stakes have never been higher now. 2 points in it, and 1 week of fixtures left to go. So it is all to play for. I need this week, but in my favour next week, and AJ will be wearing that Liverpool top.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. I've already been told by a very, very dear loved one that there will be divorce papers if I'm wearing that shirt. So I've been warned. That, so you don't want to cause a divorce, Harry, now, do you?
I don't want to wear the Liverpool shirt either, though. So you got to think
Yeah,
for
but you're
yourself as
young. You're
well.
young. You can get away with it. I can't now. Yeah,
I
I've
know,
got too
but
much to hold.
I hate Liverpool. I can't do it. I can't do it.
So let's go for it. First game of the night is Luke Littler versus Peter Wright. Now remember, these are seeded, so it's 1v8 and so on and so on and so on. So first game, Luke Littler versus Peter Wright. Harry, who have you got and why?
Well, it's literally a repeat of the fixture this week. Same stage again, and I feel like it would be silly to go one way when it's quite obvious that it might probably go the other. And it's bottom versus top, so logically you got to go with top, haven't you? And I'm going to back Littler to win this. I think Peter Wright in his head, I think he just wants this Premier League campaign to end now, so he can
Yeah,
focus on other tournaments. He's had a good run in the Pro Tour. I think he's had uh, a couple of quarterfinals, a semi as well, and he may just want to focus on that again. But this Premier League campaign needs to end, and it's going to end against Littler next week in Sheffield. And I think it's going to be six. I'm going to go 6-2 again.
Ooh. I was thinking along the same lines, but I think I think Peter Wright might try and try and go out with a bang in some sort. But I think, as we said, Luke Little's just be that bit too strong for him. But I think there's going to be two breaks, and I'm going to go with 6-3 again.
Fair enough.
So that moves us on to game two, and this is the one. This is the game with all the permutations, and not just in the Predictor League, but in the actual Premier League itself. You see what I did there? It's Nathan Aspinall versus Mike Smith. And again, we both said last week it was a coin toss, and the result last week was, well, yeah, last night, tonight, this morning, I don't know, was Michael Smith winning 6-3. But I think this week is going to be a different week. This is a fight for fourth, and it's a fight for the playoffs. And when it comes to clutch starts at the time when it's needed most, Nathan Aspinall is usually the man to do it. I'm going to go with him 6-5.
I think Nathan Aspinall will have what happened last year in the back of his mind as well. I've said this all through this campaign that he will want to right the wrongs of last year. He was so close in terms of qualifying for the playoffs last year. It was literally the 9 wins that separated him from Johnny Clayton last year, but it's in his own hands this time around. And
Yes,
I feel that this will be an opportunity that he won't let slip. I think he beats Michael Smith, and I think he beats him 6-4.
I think this. I mean, I think this is going to be these additional points on the score. This is going to be the week where it's on.
And Michael Smith has to win this game just to keep himself within a shout of
Yeah,
qualifying. And again, if it does happen, if Michael Smith does win, Nathan Aspinall's going to be biting his nails again, waiting to see what happens at the end of the night.
indeed, indeed. Moving on to the bottom half of the bracket, and then you've got Luke Humphries, fresh from his win in Leeds against Gerwin Price.
Um, I, I think I'm going to back Luke Humphries on this one. I just think even though it may not be as a welcome reception next week in Sheffield as it was this week in Leeds, I don't think that's going to play any factor. I still think that he's going to be determined to finish this campaign on a high. He's going to want to top the table in his debut campaign. And I think that he will win this 6-3.
Mm. I think you're underestimating the Yorkshire effect because you have city and city rivalries, within counties, but I think in Yorkshire it's a completely different beast. It's Yorkshire first, then your city. So I think Luke Humphries will get a good reception there. Especially putting that white rose on his shirt. Definitely will help. Um, I again, I'm going the same result, but I think the score is just going to be slightly different, and I think Luke Humphries is just gonna go on a tear here, and I think it's going to be 6-2 to Luke Humphries. This moves on to the Battle of the Greens, or Green and Turquoise. MVG Michael Van Gerwen versus Rob Cross, and again, Rob Cross has got the chance of playing spoiler for one of us, depending on how we pick. I mean, I think Michael Van Gerwen, he's starting to really find his form. I mean, to this is his first runner-up spot for this season. He's had his 4 wins, he's had his runner-up, and then he's been somewhere. But I think this is now where MVG is just finally clicking, and I think he's going to do a number, and I think it's going to be 6-3 to Michael Van Gerwen.
I'm gonna spice things up and go the other way on this one. I think Rob Cross may want to end on a high here. It's a bit of a this is a weird stat, but I think the last two this since this format's changed, the final night has been won by a player that's not won a night before. Dimitri won the final night last year in Scotland, and the year before, I think who was the one player that didn't win a night? It was Michael Smith. He won in London. Everyone else in the first week, the first year of the new format had won a night, but Michael Smith hadn't, and he obviously went and did it on the final night. And I feel that Rob Cross is going to want to end on a high. I don't know if he's going to win the night yet. I still need to make my mind up on that one, but I do think he will win this game because he has got the better of Van Gogh a few times in previous nights. And I'm going to go with him to win at 6-5.
That could be the one that could seal the fate for either of us. Now we
Yeah,
have got the weekly winner as well to think about, and again, looking at the way the brackets are formed, it could make for a very interesting evening. Wow. Is it? I never thought I'd be this
stakes have never been
invested.
higher, have they?
No, this is it. Um, Blimey. I'm gonna go with Luke Humphries winning.
Can see that. I can see that. I feel like even though if it goes with our predictions, he won't top the league if he does win, because obviously we've said Littler to reach the semi-finals would beat him Wright. So it would still be a nice way to end the league campaign for him winning 2 nights in a row, and I could very well much see it. The Yorkshire double both going to the same player.
Yes.
That would be a remarkable achievement for Luke Humphries. But I've got to splice things up here. I'm going to go with Rob Cross. I'm going to go with Rob Cross.
Ooh.
I think it
So
might just be, yeah, it might just be a point. It won't be enough in terms of him qualifying. I think tonight's all but sealed that fate for him. But I think he's going to want to end on a high. I think Luke Humphries, if he does go to that go through to the semi-finals like we've predicted, there will not be as much on the line for him. I think second place will be his position come the end of the league campaign. And he won't be moving anywhere. So I feel like Rob Cross is going to want to end it on a high, and I think he's going to be the one that wins in Sheffield.
so there we have it, guys. There is our predictions for the last night of the Premier League. And remember, this is where not our fates are sealed, but there's also a lot of things going on elsewhere around the Premier League. So there are our picks for the final week of the Premier League. And if that's our hesitation in picking winners is anything to go by, think about the players.
No, I completely agree. And then you look at the current situation, it's 3 players are out, 3 players are in the playoffs. So that just leaves 2. One will qualify, one misses out, and it's all down to that game next week between Nathan Aspinall and Michael Smith. Both players have, well, actually, no, Nathan Aspinall's got the superior night wins to his name as well. So he's also got the goal difference on side. So Michael Smith, if he wants to be qualifying for the playoffs, probably needs to win the whole night.
Yes, it's going to be a real tense night for them, and it's going to be a real tense night for me and you next week.
But
But
I'm not looking
that's
forward
not.
to it.
But and yes, we've still got that amazing competition where if you correctly guess the number of points that Luke Humphries has at the end of week 16, you can win either the first prize of issue 585 with signature by the current world champion, Luke Humphries, and a set of the anniversary flights and a 12-month subscription to your favourite Darts World magazine. And for second and third prize, you get the standard issue of 585 plus the flights plus the subscription to your favourite Darts magazine. So get your entries in. Entries close this Monday. That is the 13th of May, this Monday. All the winning entries at the end of week 16 will be put into a randomizer and that will be drawn. And we will announce the winner on the finals show where I will be going.
And I am so jealous that you get to go to that.
It's going to be a fantastic evening. I've been to Premier League events in Manchester. I've been to the World Match Play in Blackpool, and that is one of the best nights of darts. I went to when I went there, it was Glenn Durant versus Michael van Gerwen, and what a game that was! And the other night was a few years prior, and it was Barney versus Gary Anderson. Again, what a fantastic night!
Absolutely. I think I went to one in 2012, and it was I think the standout game was Phil Taylor taking on Adrian Lewis in the final match in Bournemouth. I don't think they don't hold the Premier League in Bournemouth anymore, but
No.
The first time I ever went, it was that, and it was actually surprise, surprise, it was Adrian Lewis that won.
So, strange things happening, but no, it's going to be a fantastic night in that there London. I'm really looking forward to it, and I will be talking to you fans, getting your opinions on what you think is going to be happening on that evening, and I will be interviewing some of the players, so you will get my unique spin on asking questions. So brace yourself. No, but no, thank you very much for watching this special episode, and my name is Adrian,
and my name is Harry Masterson,
and we will see you in the next round.
See you later, guys.
Have a great weekend.